What's up folks, Crazy for Games here and welcome to the making of my 2023 Halloween special, CJ and the Cursed video game. In this video I'm going to give you a behind the scenes look into how it was made, and I will also show you some deleted scenes and bloopers. So without further ado, let's get started.
You drive like a fucking wanker!
Bollocks.
So CJ and the Cursed video game is a machinima which was made within Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. The video is a parody of the horror movie The Ring, which is about a cursed videotape that causes whoever watches it to die 7 days later. My video was originally going to be about a cursed videotape as well, and the original title was CJ and the Cursed videotape. But at some point during production, I decided to make the video about something other than a tape, and so CJ and the Cursed video game was born. The reason for this change is because I just felt that with a game instead of a tape, I was able to add more things to the plot, such as the high score rule and the secret code.
Should've got a fucking taxi instead, man!
Fuck off, String.
Oh, charming!
Nearly all of the quotes in the video are from San Andreas and other video games, but 3 of them were actually AI generated.
I played this cursed game. If you play it, somebody calls and you die in a week. I played it last weekend.
I knew this guy, man. Look.
To make these, I recorded myself saying the lines, and then I did a bit of conversion to make them sound like Ken Rosenberg and the truth speaking. Here are the original recordings in which you hear me speaking. I played this cursed game. If you play it, somebody calls and you die in a week. I played it last weekend. I knew this guy, man. Look. I played the game last weekend. I played it last weekend. I knew this guy, man. I also still have the clips from when the video was originally going to be about a tape. I saw this tape. Anybody sees this tape, somebody calls, and they're dead in a week. I saw the tape last weekend. I saw this tape. Anybody sees this tape, somebody calls, and they're dead in a week. I saw the tape last weekend. I saw this tape. Anybody sees this tape, somebody calls, and they're dead in a week. I saw the tape last weekend.
I saw this tape. Anybody sees this tape, somebody calls and they're dead in a week. I saw the tape last weekend.
As mentioned in the credits, I used a lot of mods to make this video, but the mods that I used the most were DYOM and FreeCam. DYOM, or Design Your Own Mission for short, allows you to, well, design your own missions. And FreeCam allows you to move the game's camera anywhere you want. At several points throughout the video, you'll see the characters turning their heads to look at things. This is because when you fire a weapon when you're on a mission, NPCs that spawn during missions will look in your direction for a couple of seconds. So I was able to take advantage of this a lot. Sometimes I had to use a no-clip mod in order to hide behind walls and under the ground. by the way, for the scene in which Macker looks away from Ken and looks at Paul, he's actually looking at a lady who is sitting on a chair. She always spawns as a pedestrian inside this particular house, and Macker kept looking at her, which was extremely useful for this scene. So when I fired a gun off screen, he looked away from her and in my direction, to make it look like he was looking at Paul. For the scene in which Ken opens the bathroom door, the clip is actually playing in reverse. To hold the door open, an invisible character was standing in front of the door. Then, once that character disappeared, the door was able to close on its own. A character was standing in front of the open door again when Ken walks out of the bathroom. I also used Blender when making the video. After extracting the character models from the game, I had to use Blender to force their mouths open after they'd been scared to death by Ida. How did I make things appear on the TV screens? By using a technique called chroma keying, which is more commonly known as green screen or blue screen. I used a mod to extract the TV screen textures from the game and then replace them with green screens or blue screens. The mod in question allows you to extract textures and models from the game and then replace them. This was another very useful mod that I used a lot. For some of the scenes in which characters use their phones, I was using a mod that allows you to perform certain animations by pressing buttons on the keyboard. The animations also include sitting down, standing up, drinking, smoking, vomiting, and taking cover. When Tommy Vercetti is driving away from the video store, I was sitting in the car's passenger seat, but I was using an invisibility mod to make it look like Tommy is the only one there. Out of all the chase sequences in the video, this one was the most difficult one to make, and it's simply because the van's model kept changing. This particular van, the Burrito, has two different variants, one with a spoiler and lights on the top, and one without. The model just kept changing randomly. Now I know you're thinking, why not just use a different van instead, like the Pony or the Rumpo? Well, those vans had similar problems. The Pony sometimes spawns with a sound system in the back, and the Rumpo sometimes spawns with liveries. Long story short, I wasn't safe from frustration, no matter what van I used. In this scene, I was standing on top of the train and using a first-person camera mod, as well as the invisibility mod to hide CJ's body parts. In this scene, I was playing as the cop who was holding a pistol with both hands. Normally it's not possible for the player to hold the pistol with both hands, but you can hold the Desert Eagle with both hands. The solution? Replace the Desert Eagle model with the pistol model. You'll also notice that there are no yellow markers in front of the doors throughout the video. There is a mod that allows you to hide all of these markers. By default, the game console has a controller on top, so I had to use Blender to separate the two. To make the characters hold the controller, I simply replaced a gun model with the controller model. As you probably guessed, this is the Colonel's house from the mission Home Invasion. You may have noticed that I replaced the flag in the living room with artwork of one of the twins from Vice City. I also replaced the flag in the bedroom, but it's not shown in the video. This is what it would have looked like. I thought that was a nice touch given that Diaz likes Mercedes. I replaced the grenade with the bong. Talk about getting smoked. The game box is actually the toy SWAT tank box that can be found in Zero's shop. I just changed its texture. For every scene in which the game box appears, I had to make sure the camera wasn't facing the back of the box, because for some reason the back of this box is missing. Just like the controller, I replaced a gun model with the disc. There is a mod that allows you to change CJ's clothes anytime and anywhere. Every item of clothing is available, including the special outfits and the burglar ski mask. To make the remote control fall off the chair, I defined a path in DYOM for it to follow. I did the same thing when the gun is knocked out of CJ's hands in the sewer cave. The issue number on the newspaper is a reference to Big Smoke's Cluck and Bell order.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soda.
This photo didn't make the final cut. And here are the photos without the distorted faces. The console startup tune is from the Let's Get Ready to Bumble arcade game. It plays when you get game over. Now, if you're a Doom fan, you'll recognise the text font in the cursed game. To make this, I used an online Doom text generator. The cursed game is actually a custom Doom 2 level. It takes place in the same map as the one in the Ghouls Forest 3, which is a scary Doom 2 mod created by Cutman Mike. A few years ago I made my own version of Ghouls Forest 3 called Big Smoke's Forest.
Hey, fool! Hey, fool! Come on then, CJ! Ah!
I got permission from Cutman Mike to use his work, so all credit goes to him. The ghostly girl who chases you in the cursed game has the same sprites as the Yuri, the final boss of Ghouls Forest 3, but I changed her behaviour, so she now spawns in a random place after about 16 seconds and continuously chases you until she catches you. And because her spawn point is always random, she actually jump scared me a few times when I was making the video. And yes, the treasure chests that you collect are indeed from Wolfenstein 3D. The plane crash text doesn't actually appear in the game. I just added that to the video. Normally the well in Montgomery has a lid on it, but I downloaded a mod which removes that lid. Near the start of CJ's Nightmare, I used a mod that allows you to turn your vehicle's engine on and off. I also use this when CJ and Ryder arrive at the Big Ear later on. Yes, this is a fender ketchup mod which allows you to attach pedestrians to your car, just like Johnny Sindako. Originally, Beverly was going to drive through the Sprunk billboard from the mission Reuniting the Families, instead of driving into a train. When CJ wakes up, I used the same image of CJ that I used in CJ and Big Smoke Save Christmas. When CJ is trying to destroy the disc with a chainsaw, those sparks were added using DYOM. Originally, we would have seen CJ buying the satchel charges at ammunition.
If the cops ask, you didn't get it here, okay?
In this game, there isn't an animation for when you use a remote detonator, so I had to download one. The fire on CJ was also added using DYOM and was set to disappear after a few seconds. For the slow motion part of this clip, I was using a slow motion mod that you can activate by simply pressing a button, and you can edit the configuration file to choose the slow motion speed. The mission failed screen was originally going to appear along with this clip of the fire truck driving away. I replaced the grenade with the disc for this scene. Talk about smoky smoke on smoke. Trying to get the people to sit at the tables in the burger shop wasn't easy, as you can see. Luckily, I used a collision editor mod to remove the collision from the chairs. The first enemy vehicle in the Huntley chase was originally a bike, not a car. For this shot, and this shot, I was standing on the vehicles while using a first person mod and the invisibility mod. This train wasn't spawned using DYOM. I actually used a mod that allows you to spawn a train whenever you like. You can choose the type of train as well as its speed, length and direction. And with very careful and painstaking video editing, I was able to remove the text from the screen. I did the same thing when the train hits the fire truck later on. I used a text editor mod to remove the paint spray messages. For this shot, I was sitting in the passenger seat and using the first person mod again. When CJ, Ryder and the mysterious man are in the void, they're actually standing on invisible platforms under CJ's house in the Interiors universe. Once again, the no clip mod came to the rescue. This is what the flashback images and video clips look like in colour.
Your bust, sir. Don't you love the King's music?
It's crap.
Bye, baby.
Check.
Please place your bet. 20. You win!
No more bets.
21! $12, 14, 21.
By the way, you can't play blackjack in DYOM, so I had to use the skin selector option in the cheat menu mod to let me play blackjack as Ida and the mysterious man in the vanilla game. Also, the pedestrian model used for Ida has a black dress by default. Yes, this is a mod that allows you to carry dead bodies. For the CCTV scene, this is the police station in El Quebrados, which you can access using DYOM. And yes, the hot coffee mod. Here are the full screen versions of the other CCTV images. This is the full unedited clip of Ida being shot into the well by the Mafia. And here's the finished product. I used chroma keying to add the blood for this scene. To make this easier, I used the invisibility mod and the infinite health cheat and made a character in DYOM shoot me. Originally, we would have seen the camera being destroyed by the Mafia, but at the time, I couldn't find a way to hide that targeting reticule. For the boat chase, I was using what's known as turret mode, which is also used in missions like Reuniting the Families, Air Raid, the Da Nang Thang, Freefall, and Up Up and Away. Turret mode is available in DYOM, but for some reason it doesn't work with boats, so I had to download a mod which allows you to enter turret mode in any vehicle by simply walking up to it and pressing a button. And by the way, no, you can't just stand on the boat, because for some reason that makes the driver commit suicide. The gun that Ryder is using here is an M249, and yes, it has a different fire sound. I managed to find a new weapon sound pack for the game. When Ryder destroys the boats with the rocket launcher, I used the slow motion mod and free cam. I fired a rocket, triggered the slow motion mod, triggered free cam, moved the camera up to the boats, and then disabled the slow motion.
That was some heavy shit!
For sure.
To make Ryder aim the rocket launcher upwards in this scene, I used a gun to lock on to a character who was high up, then triggered free cam, switched to the rocket launcher, and aimed. If done correctly, you'll be aiming the rocket launcher in the direction that you were aiming the gun before you trigger free cam. Once again, I used the text editor mod to change the messages in the top left corner. It was the cheat activated messages that I changed. The jetpack that spawns where CJ was standing was on a timer set in DYOM. To enter the well and to allow Ida to climb out later on, I removed the well's collision using the collision editor mod that I mentioned earlier. Now, what you're seeing here is a sewerage mod which adds a massive sewer system underneath Los Santos. Once installed, you can access these sewers via several entry points around the city. The parts of the sewers that you see in the video are actually just the tip of the iceberg because the whole place is absolutely huge. There are far more areas to explore. There are no running water sounds in the sewers, I just added those to the video. The enemies, cars and bodies in the sewers appeared when I touched invisible markers that I added in DYOM. They were all on timers and would disappear after a certain amount of time had passed. The flashes of light were simply added to the video. By the way, what the hell are those floating things in the sewers? They are ghosts. The Pigsy model that I downloaded for the video doesn't have genitals, but I added sensor bars just in case. Yes, James Earl Cash is holding the sawn-off shotgun from Manhunt, and that was indeed the sawn-off shotgun fire sound from the same game. Although DYOM allows you to choose an interior to access, the inside of Ryder's house is not available, so I had to use a mod that allows you to go in. And here we have the final instance of a gun being replaced with a different model, the remote control. I was playing as Ida when she climbs out of the well, and with a bit of movie magic, I was able to hide that pink platform. When Ida slowly advances towards the screen, she was an NPC. To keep her head pointed downwards the whole time, I was standing on platforms under the ground and moving while firing a gun at the same time. And here's the finished product. Once again, I used chroma keying for when Ida crawls out of Ryder's TV. At first I used a green screen, but that made green pixels appear around Ida's body. The solution? Change it to a blue screen. After figuring out what the secret code is, CJ finds a hidden message in the game explaining that in order to survive the curse, somebody must beat your high score. So why did Diaz die? He didn't get a high score. Well, I should have made that rule a bit clearer at the time, so allow me to explain. If your score isn't high enough to give you a place on the leaderboard, you will still die, even if the low score that you got gets beaten. In other words, to survive the curse, your score must be high enough, and somebody must beat it in 7 days. If both of those criteria aren't met, well, you are fucked. When Ida is chasing Smoke's car, she's actually running in slow motion, in conjunction with a mod that allows you to run extremely quickly. As you can see, if I didn't use the slow motion mod as well, I would have been moving far too quickly. Also, using the super fast mod sometimes caused hilarity. Smoke's tyres were popped by an invisible spike strip. To accomplish this, I used a mod that allows you to drop spike strips from police vehicles, kinda similar to the mission Puncture Wounds. And to make the spike strip invisible, I extracted its texture and then replaced it with a blank one. When Ida is knocked into the water, I used the Super Punch cheat and the Ragdoll physics mod. I'm glad the level crossing's red lights were still there when Ida walks out of the train tunnel, because that represented her mood. I mean, think about it. If I was a vengeful ghost, and if my victim had managed to escape my clutches, I'd be a bit pissed off too. I used the Super Punch cheat again for when Ida knocks CJ halfway across the shop. During the ending, was Ryder's ghost really there, given that the hidden message says that the side effects of the curse, including hallucinations, may continue to occur days after your deadline? And now for the post-credit scene. Normally when you kill somebody in this game when they're in a vehicle, their body falls out. Oh come on Stu, don't tell me there's a mod that prevents that from happening. Well, hate to disappoint you, but there is. And we've almost reached the end of the video, but first I'll show you a montage of some other clips that didn't make the final cut, as well as some bloopers and the text document on which I wrote down various ideas for the video, some of which also didn't make the final cut. Thank you all for watching and stay solid.
Thank you for your help.
Will you move that hunk of junk?
It's on now, Grove Street. You just found a cemetery, puto.
Sir is lucky today. Push. 13. Your hand is dead, sir.
Smell your mother.